Okay, so today's video we got a Twid again. It's Thursday, we got another Twid. And this is not good news by any means. This is just nothing. We're going to talk about the buffs to fire team ops and all this stuff they say. We're going to ignore the reverted stuff because we already knew about it. They said they were reverting things. Buffs we already knew about. The top ones here, the time thing. So let's read Ash and Iron and continue from there. Increase the number of drops for Liminality, Inverted Spire, and Onslaught Widow's Court. Well, they don't say an increase here. They don't say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. They just say an increase. Well, last week they said they were increasing it by 1 for each of these, which a 4 to 5 times long activity compared to solo ops, if not longer, depending on the team you're with, and depending on the difficulty, is not worth 2 engrams. And because they don't show an increase here, guess what, everyone? That means 100% it's 1 increase. It's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 4, it's 1. Because Bungie didn't change the number. If they were going to change that number, they would have put it in the Twid right here. And they didn't add a number, which means nothing good. It means nothing good. Let's continue reading. Activity timers have been reduced. Don't care for that. New increase the number of drops for many more activities in Fireteam Ops. Our team is still working on finalizing which specific activities we can buff up, and we will share more details after we finish validating this change. Okay, so here they don't say a number either, but we're going to assume, because Bungie is convinced 1 engram's enough, for some reason, that they're going to do the same thing to these. And what do they mean specific activities? All the fire team ops, even the easy ones, should be increased plus 4 to 5 loot. Bungie, this is not a thing about power increase. The power increase isn't the problem. Yes, power increase is annoying, but you will always adjust that and change that over the years. Doesn't matter what we complain about. The problem is there's no loot. Where's the loot? Where is the loot? Oh, there is no loot. And you don't seem to want to give us loot. Plus 1 engram on a 4 to 5 time minimal activity longer than the solo ops. It's not more loot. It's a waste of your time still, which means solo ops is still the best. What the fuck? They all say they're going to remove the grappler mod from Fireteam Ops matchmaking pool. You still can apply it to normal customized one, but if you want to do matchmaking, then they're going to remove it, which I understand, because honestly it is kind of bad, but it's what it is. Buffs for portal rewards. The following plan changes are focus on increasing rewards or increasing rewards quality. There's nothing here that increases reward, just the quality, but you know, whatever. Chance of prime engram drop per completion reward. Activities with more base completion rewards such as liminality and inverted spell will provide more chance for prime engrams to drop. Okay, again, these are only getting plus 1 engram increases, which is trash, which means it's not worth your time. Even if you have a chance at getting 2 primes, let's be honest here, if it's 1 in 13 you get 1, then do the math there, then it's still going to be 1 in 13 you get 1, and then you have a chance, who knows how many out of what. How many of those 13 sets in a row do you have to do before you get an extra one, right? Because it's not going to be every time, let's be honest here, so we'd have to do more math there, and that's just not worth the effort. So yeah. That sucks. So, not great, and again, solo ops is literally 4 to 5 times quicker at minimal. Why waste your time on this? 4 to 5 times more speed or more time spent at minimal, and you only get 1 extra shot at it. That's not really worth your time. When in that 4 to 5 times more, I get 4 to 5 times more done. Simple as that. New, we are working on creating a more consistent power reward experience for the upper power climb. In Ash and Iron, this will be power 500, 550. Bungie, just lower the light as a whole, okay? The fact we have to go up 300 levels in a season is ridiculous. Extra on top of what we had is just ridiculous. It should be like 100 scale at max, and it should be separated evenly. And then this would work a lot better, in my opinion. But that's my opinion, what do I know? Just play the game and, you know, do things. And honestly, I don't know why they say they need to make it more consistent. We've proven the numbers. We've gotten the numbers. We've seen tons of people's numbers. Everyone's got a general idea of how it works, so Don't really know how we're making it more consistent when it's already consistent. No, if anything, you need to make it more often, as instead of 12, 13 runs, it should be like 7, 8 runs then maybe. But even then, I really don't mind where it's at right now. I think it's okay, personally. More buffs, they talk about stuff they talked about last week. Not important, so. The only thing really to mention is they're fixing the account power right now. It will be your highest gear total, not what you have equipped. And that way you don't have to equip your highest gear anymore. Which is nice. And conquests are now replayable, but this is a 50-50. Or they can give you 4 engrams every time you complete them. Or are they going to give you 1 engram after you complete it for the first time? Because they give you like 4 or 5 engrams, right, when you complete it for the first time. That are higher tier loot usually. So it really depends on how they play that out. If they're just going to be +1 loot engrams, you know, they're kind of pointless. So, Bungie for you. Right here we're going to say, in the long run, we are still going to be cautious about a singular ops category or activity becoming the go-to for power leveling. We want Destiny to be a game where you want to hop in with friends to level rather than declining an invite to spend time in a solo activity for the sake of progression. Loot! Bungie! Loot! All you have to do is give us loot and we'll farm the multiple people activities. But if you don't give us loot for a 4 to 5 times activity, which 4 to 5 times longer time means 4 to 5 times more loot. Bungie, knock knock, where's the brain at? Oh, that's right, Bungie has none. It's okay, Destiny Rising is now out, and it's way better than Destiny 2 in my opinion, so guess what, Destiny 2, you're dying. Bringing heavy metal back, which is cool, I actually enjoyed this mode, but unfortunately, the good news is we are getting a new emblem, we're getting a new sword, we're getting a new shotgun. The sword has Eager Edge, I'm very excited for that. But here's the problem. They're giving us the exact same exotic sparrow we had last year. Not a new one, a completely same. Nothing different about it. What the fuck? They could have given us a different version of the heavy sparrows instead of giving us the exact same heavy sparrow again. Bungie, make it a different heavy sparrow. Hello? I've never seen Bungie do this. They love reskinning the same thing over and over again. Which is whatever, because that's the cosmetic side of Destiny, and that makes sense to a certain degree. You can only make so many. So why didn't they bring a new version of this out, and a heavy sparrow? That way people can still get a free heavy sparrow that didn't get one. But it's different, because now I'm just getting the same fucking thing I already had. Why am I getting the same thing I already had? I did this activity. Why am I getting it again? That's stupid. I don't get it. Bungie mistakes after another. Let's go. Free emblem if you watch Twitch streamer. Kind of cool emblem. I'm not going to lie. I do like that. It does suck that you have to watch them for an hour just to get it. It's kind of crazy, but whatever. We're going to get into this class fantasy thing now. We are going to rant about these traits a little bit, but we're also going to talk about these buffs and stuff, and we do like and don't like about them, and we think is what the fuck. Starting with Warlock. Battlefield control. 50-50 on that, depending on the subclass. Yeah, okay, we can agree that's a trait. Arcane abilities, obviously that's a trait. That's kind of the whole thing of Warlocks. Ally empowerment is not a trait. That is a class ability. And then one grenade. Warlocks do not actually benefit their teammates at all, other than, well, and solar stuff. And that is it. And yes, you can maybe count the arc buddy you get from the Rift for Warlock arc. Maybe. But that's it. The Void doesn't do anything to benefit anyone else but yourself. The arc doesn't do anything other than that to benefit itself. The solar obviously does. The stasis doesn't benefit anyone else but yourself. The strand soon will benefit other people with its strand effect, but because you'll get woven mail if the Warlock goes into their strand thing, but still ain't really making a huge difference. So ally empowerment is inaccurate. The other two check, we'll agree those are traits. Ally empowerment is completely a fib. One class does not make it a trait, Bungie. That just makes it a class. A trait is something that all of them can hold on to together. Battlefield control, all of the classes can do in one form or another, depending on what you use on each class. Each element can do it, though. Arcane abilities, they're all arcane abilities, so technically yes, that works. Ally empowerment is false, only one class can do that, so that means it's not a trait, it is a trait of a single subclass, not a trait of the warlock itself. So that's in false and bad Bungie. Seriously, if any other element other than solar had anything to do with ally empowerment, why is it we always put them on solar? Oh wait, that's right, because solar is the only empowerment of allies. So, untrue. I mean, yes, technically prismatic, obviously, too, but it's the solar stuff in prismatic, so it's still solar. That way you can't argue that. Anyways, let's get to the buffs. General, the following warlock turrets will now count as grenades for stats and perks. Okay, half of these are not grenades. Half of these are tied to class abilities. They should be tied to class abilities. Period. I don't know why half of them we didn't get, but it's fine. We'll go over each one. Ionic Sentry, that makes sense for your grenade. It's tied to your grenade. It should be tied to your grenade. That's fine. Awesome. So it'll get increased damage, increased effects. Anything that affects your grenade will affect it. Sweet. Arc Soul, that's your rift. Unless you use the exotic gauntlets, getaway artist, and you eat them, right? You eat the Arc Soul, you eat grenade, and it's Arc Soul, then it's grenade. So big Arc Soul, grenade. Little Arc Soul that comes from rift is your class ability. So it should stick with your, say it with me, class ability. Simple as that. Helion, class ability. Bleak Watcher, grenade. Fine with that. Even though I don't think the damage bonus on that would help in any sort of way. So honestly, that won't be useful. But I mean, anything that makes your grenade come back quicker will help. So I guess that works. Child of the Old Gods, class ability. Why is someone's running 200 grenade and they make a Child of the Old Gods? You telling me that child's gonna do even more damage to me now around the corner? What the fuck? No. Class ability, Bungie. Tied to class ability, make it last longer or something. Or maybe it's, when it sucks health, it gives you a overshield. You know, a small overshield over time. So it's not like instant, just over time it'll slowly give an overshield. I think that'd be fine. So it basically increase the stat of your class ability, basically. That's my opinion. Now comes the most broken thing I've ever seen in my life. Potentially. Because, depending on how this works, there could be some ridiculously broken builds in this. Potentially. Empowering Rift, class ability, will now generate neutral game ability regen over time. Or ability energy over time, but it means regen, so either way, same thing. That's crazy. That's cracked for PvP and PvE. That's cracked. Depending on how much you get back, that's cracked. I'm hoping by it saying neutral game, it means the neutral stats, so the lower end stats, but I highly doubt that, so we'll see. And if it stacks with your current stats, let's say I'm running a 100 grenade, right, and this stacks on top of it, well then, if the grenade says it's 30 seconds, well, it could be like 20 or less seconds, which is quite crazy. I don't know if this affects everyone or just the warlock. If it affects everyone, it's still like broken, but it's more balanced in a sense. But if it's only warlocks getting the benefit, this is scary. I don't like this. And then kills while standing in the Empowering Rift will now generate bonus ammo progress. If this works in PvP, this is going to be the most broken and destructive thing in PvP. And there's already broken shit. This is going to be the most broken thing ever. It's going to make special everywhere like we used to have, but on steroids. 15% doesn't sound like a lot, but if you stop and think about how much you get in PvP when you get a kill, add 15% on top of that. That's a lot more than you realize, because it's every kill. It also, with Empowering Rift, says it will now generate neutral game ability energy over time. Is this when you stand it or when you pop it? Because it doesn't say that, whereas the one below actually tells you have to stand it to get the bonus. Which means at least it's somewhat more controlled, but it's still unbalanced as fuck. So whatever. Titans. Let's get to Titans. Aggressive Assault. Accurate. Damage mitigation. No. Artillery Expert. No. Okay, aggressive assault's obvious, right? They get up in that shit and they destroy everything with their fists. Or their claws, or whatever you want to call it, right? Titans are crazy. Damage mitigation, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't mitigation means canceling out of damage? It doesn't mean, oh, slightly canceling out damage. It means completely outright damage gone, right? And even if you can inference it to mean slightly damage reduction or something, it's still not the play. Solar doesn't do that. Void doesn't do that. Arc does now, if amplified, so I guess that's true. Let's see what it's a strand. I guess technically does it, but it only does the body, so I guess maybe. And then stasis, yeah, I guess. Okay, so maybe damage mitigation kind of works. But in what universe is artillery expert here? There is not a single class on Titan that this works with other than Arc with the class ability. You pop your shield, you shoot over it, you hit lightning bolts. This is the only thing that works, and that is one single ability on one single class. Just like with the Warlock we talked about, that does not make it a Titan trait. It makes it an Arc Titan trait. By saying a Titan trait means it's a benefit all Titans get. None of them get it. Maybe you could argue like the hammers count, okay, maybe, but not really. Because if you stop and think about it, okay, fine, I have to pop my super to do it. That's not a trait still, it's a super you're using. And then stasis, strand, nothing there. We've got arc. You can't really artillery expert on arc because you're always up in the fight. Even with the slam, you're still up in the fight, the big slam. So that doesn't work. Void, fuck no, Void doesn't work unless, I mean, the axes maybe you can consider, but again, that's two things, two supers, and one class ability. Still not enough. That's not even 50% of the abilities. That does not make it an expert in artillery, Bungie. So, false. But what do I know? Just a gun state. Just saying. Fucking no artillery of Titans, it's all about fisties. Anyway, so Titans buffs are Howl of the Storm, Stasis Aspect, which is a crazy buff, is now getting 2 melee charges. Which on its own is crazy. Effect and Aspect is giving double melees is crazy on its own. Especially for a very overpowered Titan melee that has gotten a lot of hate. It gets better. Change Stasis Crystal spawn pattern and added 4 more crystals. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't crystals in general 4 or 5 crystals, right? And isn't it Hunters lost a crystal because they were too broken because they consistently one-tap with Shatter Dive? So they removed 1 crystal to make it where you could still do it, but it wouldn't be as consistent. Now Bungie's giving Titans 2 melees, which the melee shatters the crystals, and they do it. It's literally a Titan thing right now. Titans will literally throw a nade on you, slow you, melee into the crystals, and shatter all the crystals and kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, we're giving them 4 more crystals, so, what, 7 to 8 crystals, which is crazy. Again, remember, Hunters lost a crystal. They were like 5 or 6 crystals. They lost a crystal because it was too consistent. Now Bungie's giving you the ability to shatter all of your crystals with a melee, like always. And they're giving you 2 of those melees that can do it. So it's basically the new Shattered Dive. It literally is, and if not more broken in a sense. Because you can build a build on Titan Stasis that gives you your melee back instantly. So it'd be just as dominant as Shattered Dive was. And now you're also making it spawn 4 extra crystals, which is anywhere between 7 and 8 crystals. What? What? And when they say change the pattern, let's be honest here, they're going to do like with the Hunter one and make it a circle. They're going to make it more centered around this thing, which means more damage is going to hit you even easier. What? I thought Shatter Dive was too oppressive. This is about to make Shatter Dive look like a joke, because Shatter Dive required you to get above and shatter. If you wanted to shatter all the crystals, you had to jump up and over and shatter all of them. Whereas this, you can just plow through one of them and it shatters them all. I know this because Titans do it all the time. They'll throw it on a corner and you'll get slowed and they'll hit 1 crystal and it shatters all the other crystals and you're dead. You just have to accept it. Or you're brought down to 1 tap at the most. And now you'll definitely be dead with 4 more crystals. What the fuck? Bastion Void Aspect. Is Bastion the one that gives you the Overshield? Right? I think that's the Overshield one. It says, we'll now have fast cooldown in PvP, but Bungie did say they meant PvE. They also said in the Twitter post they fixed that, but they obviously didn't fix it. Good job, Bungie. Fuck that one up. What's new? So that's kind of whatever. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Overshield is so trash in PvP. Or PvE. Not PvP. PvP, it's still annoying. But in PvE, it's so trash. This really doesn't do anything, in my opinion. This is not going to force Titans to do more. They do say they want to actually mess with Bubble. And I honestly think Bubble needs a lot of work. Because Bubble just sucks. It really does. I have no clue what to do to it to make it better. At one point, a lot of people had ideals, but truthfully, they could be problematic. So, I don't know. Anyways, let's go to the Hunter. Hunter traits. I love this. Attack precision. No. Not really. You're not really precise with your attacks. You kind of just spray and pray on a hunter. Your abilities are kind of just thrown out there. You kind of just throw your abilities around like a lunatic. But okay, let's say you're more precise with them when you really don't have to be because they kind of just do all the work. But whatever. We'll say precision kind of works. I don't really think it does because, in my opinion, what attack precision means versus what we actually see in Hunters doesn't work. Infiltration? Infiltrate what? This isn't like Team Fortress 2 or whatever it's called with Spy, and you can turn into the enemy player and run around and kill the enemy ads or the enemy PvP players because you look like one of their own. We don't have infiltration in this game. Invis doesn't count. I don't want anyone to say Invis counts. Invis you can see a mile away in PvP, and in PvE, Invis is a joke, okay? It really doesn't do enough. Obviously, there is a build with Prismatic right now that makes it good. Yes. But without that build, it doesn't really do anything. It's a waste of a thing. Tether's nice, yes, for ad clearing and dealing with ads and stuff, and maybe a debuff, use it that way. No one really does anymore because Tractor, but yeah, whatever. But there's nothing to infiltrate. So infiltration, just straight off the bat, no. Damage avoidance. I know there'll be some motherfuckers that try to defend this when they dodge. You dodge. It is not. None of the abilities give you damage avoidance. Damage resistance, but not damage avoidance. Avoiding damage means, hey, I dodged and the guy missed his shots because he sucks at aiming. Oh, wait, if you're good at PvP, you can't get dodged. Your dodge ain't going to make you avoid damage. You just might be able to get behind the wall so you don't die. You didn't avoid the damage. You still got the damage while you were in the open, moving around the corner. So it doesn't really avoid damage, and in PvE it really doesn't do anything. It's literally useless. You dodge in PvE, every ad still aimbots the shit out of you. So those are both stupid. So, yeah. If you want to know something great, Hunters in Destiny 2 Rising are cracked. They have some really cool abilities, really cool uniqueness. Go play Destiny Rising. I said Destiny 2 Rising, but Destiny Rising. Go play Destiny Rising. It has really cool hunter abilities. Bungie, if you want to make hunters better, integrate some of those. Let's see. So, on your mark solar aspect, this is actually a huge nerf, and I know some people might not understand this right away, but trust me when I tell you this is a huge nerf. Stacks of on your mark now give weapon stat instead of weapon handling and reload. That was like the best thing about it, and the fact that stack times 3 and you could get it by dodging was amazing. Those two things were very nice. You hit your shots, you get it, or you dodge, you get it. Well, now it's weapon stat, so it just increases your weapon. That's kind of useless. Unless you build into it, weapon stat, this is pointless. This will never benefit you unless you build into weapon stat. But now, it's 10 stacks. So in PvE, maybe if you're running like Celestial, you can build in this, get some extra damage, have Radiant going. You know, you could definitely build some damage here, probably. You should have weapon anyway, so it means you have to only hit 160 weapons instead of 200, so okay, a little bit more reasonable for PvE. PvP useless. The fact you have to do 10 stacks though is crazy. Which this is what makes it bad in PvE now too. Precision hits now give you 1 stack. Precision final blows give you 2 stacks. Well, PvE, make sure you get enough kills beforehand. Make sure you get precision kills, which is hard on some enemy types. And plus, most of the time, people aren't using precision weapons because we're just kind of going ham. So, I mean, on like, you know, Outbreak, it would be pretty easy to hit. Let's be honest. Outbreak, 3 shots shoots really quick. If each shot in the burst counts, then yeah, it'd be very quick. But if it doesn't, it'll still take a minute. But a lot of other weapons aren't going to work very great here, so this is not that great. This is really not a buff or a nerf, it's just kind of horrible. I would have preferred in PvP the weapon handling and reload, because I've been using solar because the trip mines are broken, and I've enjoyed the weapon handling and reload personally. Precision final blows at 10 stacks now cure you instead of giving Radiant. I think this is a huge nerf. I know some people, you might be thinking Cure is useful. No, let's be honest here. When you build any type of healing build, you don't build into Cure. You build into Restoration. Why? Because Restoration is cracked. Cure is kind of useless. Yeah, you might have something on that gives you Cure here and there, but Cure is not that great. It really isn't. And on a Hunter, there's nothing you can build into it, so it's even worse. So every time you get a precision final blow, and it has to be a precision final blow, you cure yourself. So you gain a small bit of your health back every time. Maybe that stacks with the health stat. I have no clue, and I don't care to find out. Because that's useless. I'd rather have Radiant, where then I can create constant fire sprites, and then constantly walk into those, and constantly have full health, basically, because they give you a chunk of health from Cure, and give you Restoration constantly. Which, technically speaking, the Cure part might be a bug on its part, but whatever, that's just my opinion. Golden Gun Deadshot is getting buffed. If I remember correctly, this is the one that's 3-shot, right? Or is it 6-shot? I don't remember. I don't play Hunter Solar enough. No, I believe this is 3 shots, right? Now refunds ammo on Golden Gun Final Blows instead of Ignitions. This is cool. If this is the 3-shot, this is kind of cool for PvP. If this is 6-shot, it's also kind of cool for PvP. Now extends super duration on Golden Gun Final Blows. Well, I guess that means it's not the 6-shot, because doesn't the 6-shot already do that? Doesn't it refund on every kill anyways? So I guess this has to be the 3 shots, so that's kind of cool. 3 shots, slower shots, more shots now. Kind of works in a sense. You shoot one guy, you get an extra shot. I'm okay with that. PvE, not really useful. Not really useful at all. So, yeah, not that useful. I swear Deadshot's a 6-shot, though, isn't it? Wasn't it supposed to already extend super duration on Golden Gun Final Blows? Am I tripping there? Duration gain is diminished with Final Blows, grants less in Crucible. So I guess they meant with more Final Blows, but whatever. Marksman Dodge class ability. This is probably the only thing that's really cracked for Hunter, potentially, but sadly, I don't think it's going to be useful, other than, like, if you switch to it for, like, damage rotation. That's about it, if you're using, like, multiple weapons for damage. The class ability Marksman Dodge, which I'm assuming is on everything, not just Solar, because it's a whole thing, right? Now reloads all weapons on activation, so instead of just the weapon you have out, it's all of your weapons get reloaded, which we do have an exotic armor piece that does that, so technically that makes it useless, but at the same time, if you use like the melee one, then the exotic would make it useful, but sadly, nobody uses the exotic because it's kind of meh. And then now picks up nearby ammo bricks on activation. So instead of giving like the Warlock benefit when you dodge, you get like a huge increase for the next so many seconds. It just picks up all the bricks, which I won't lie is actually kind of cool. I do actually like that. Especially in PvP, that can be clutch. You know, you kill a guy, there's ammo on the ground, you can't run to it because the next guy's coming, you dodge real quick, and boom. That could be prominent, maybe. But as a whole, Hunters need a huge buff. Hunters and Titans have had the most nerfs. Hunters have had barely, or Warlocks have had barely any nerfs. Warlocks have the least amount of nerfs. I remember someone made a chart. Warlocks literally have barely any nerfs compared to Hunters and Titans. And sadly, Hunters really just don't have a place in the meta. I love playing Hunters still, but they just don't have a place, dude. There's so much broken stuff with Titan right now. In Warlock, it's just kind of hard to play Hunter. Like, if it's a good Hunter, then yeah, they can be definitely a nuisance, but if it's against another good Titan and another good Warlock, if they're the same skill, gap or skill level, the Titan and Warlock usually end up winning. Because Titan Warlock abilities are a lot more consistent spam and a lot more broken when you spam. Whereas Hunters have a couple things that are broken, but they're not actually that broken. Because if you miss them, well, rip. Whereas if you miss the other things, well, you still got more. So, yeah, whatever. It's meh. Creator panel, stuff like that, blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. Donate, make sure you donate if you have the money to. Let's see, this is actually the greatest thing known issues list. Hallelujah. Sadly, they're probably never, and I mean never gonna fix this, but Tempest Strike does not activate combination blow consistently. Thank you, Bungie. I'm glad they finally mentioned this. I made a video on it. Other people finally made videos on it. This has been an issue since the get-go, since they made it actually work. There's a lot of issues with it. So if they fix this, hallelujah, this will be the most broken build in the game by far. But if they don't, well, rip the dream. The red dot sight for the anti-dite SMG is slightly off center. Dude, I swear something was effed with that and I could not figure it out. I'm so glad I wasn't tripping for that. But that's the Twid. Nothing else really worth talking about. Just their outro as always. As a whole, like I said, very disappointing on the loot side of the portal still because they gave us nothing like usual. So, not very surprising. This is Bungie after all. These buffs are very plain and very indirect and no information provided, so they don't mean anything until there's actual information. Like we talked about, the abilities for the new changes for the ability stuff. Warlocks are getting the best deal out of everyone by a mile. I do hate that the some of this turret stuff is effed, but that's my opinion, whatever. Anyways, enjoy the video, like, subscribe, comment what you think. That's the Twid for the week. Thanks for watching. Adios. We gone. Bye!